The city of Windhelm has fallen to the Thalmor. The once rising rule of Ulfric Stormcloak has suddenly hit a massive obstacle, and along with the Dragonborn, both are now wanted in the lands of Skyrim by the Thalmor. Hello everyone, and today we will be continuing with the storyline on what happens after the Stormcloaks win the Civil War. Once again, just to remind you guys, this is a fan-made story, so it is not canon, but I hope you enjoy the story nonetheless. I've created a storyline for the Imperials as well, which was uploaded just a few days ago before this video, so give that one a look if you're curious what story I have made for the other outcome. As always, if you enjoy this video, please be sure to leave it a like so I know to continue this story, and consider subscribing to the channel if you want to see more content, and comment on if there are any other story prompts you would like to present so I could perhaps make a story from them. Other than that, let's begin. Windhelm is lost. Ulfric, the Dragonborn, and a small detachment of surviving Stormcloaks and allies, perhaps numbering to below 100, escaped the clutches of Thalmor control, and have fled using a tunnel that leads to the back of the city's walls. With this retreat, Ulfric orders his Stormcloaks to return to their families as regular citizens, but be ready for the call if he requires their services again, until it is just him and the Dragonborn. The Thalmor attack. How are they able to infiltrate the city? Something to think about. For now, we will have to ride west towards Solitude and plan our next attack. If the Dragonborn is the Archmage of the College of Winterhold, an additional dialogue will be added to this conversation. Hold on, you are the Archmage of the College of Winterhold, are you not? Perhaps I could seek shelter in the city of Winterhold. It is a small enough town that the Thalmor will not dare attack such a place. This conversation merely changes the dialogue, but regardless, Ulfric concludes that they should reside in Winterhold for the time being. This change in locations would not change much of the grander story, but will allow Ulfric to roam the city more freely than he would if the Dragonborn was not yet the Archmage of the College of Winterhold, and this is because of Ancano, who is a Thalmor agent, and will have likely been alerted of Ulfric's retreat and possible presence in Winterhold, thus making Ulfric more cautious with his movements in Winterhold. Whether or not Ancano is still alive by the time this conversation occurs will be important in the storyline later on. But for the purposes of this story, the Dragonborn will become the Archmage of Winterhold, allowing Ulfric to reside there safely for the time being. We need to rebuild our strength, but we cannot do so as openly as we did when we were fighting the Imperials now that the elves have greatly increased their presence here. It would also be a good idea to fortify the city of Winterhold and restore its status as a great city once again. I trust that you, as the Archmage, no more accidents will occur here under your watch. This could provide an interesting opportunity to add a city builder-like element to the gameplay of Skyrim, where the player could rebuild Winterhold in the vision that they see. Although granted with the mountainous area surrounding it, it will be a task that would require creativity on the player's part, but I am sure that it can happen. It would be similar to the expansion of the households introduced in Hearthfire, but on a grander scale. The Dragonborn is then free to roam Skyrim again and continue their adventures. Interestingly enough, when they enter the other cities, they will not be attacked by the Thalmor. It turns out that the Jarls of each of the holds, apart from Windhelm, still support Ulfric, as the Thalmor won't dare install Dominion-appointed Jarls in fear of rebellion from the Skyrim population and start another uprising. However, they are more limited in their freedom on how to rule. While the Dragonborn isn't attacked, there is slightly increased Thalmor presence in the holds, but not enough to raise fear in the population, but instead to keep an eye on movements from Ulfric and the Dragonborn. As long as the Dragonborn doesn't do any activities seen as an act of defiance in front of the Thalmor, then they are free to roam as if they are regular citizens. As part of an ongoing side quest, the Dragonborn can collect resources used to establish buildings, homes, shops, etc. into Winterhold, building the landscape surrounding the Jarl's Hall and the College of Winterhold. And this is how the player will progress through the storyline, based on how much progress they have done on rebuilding the city. The first milestone of the rebuilding process will result in a quest being triggered by Ulfric. Dragonborn, we need to establish communications with the other Jarls from each of the strongholds. Based on my knowledge, the Thalmor have not held an iron grip on the Jarls themselves, so you should have freedom to speak with them. Instead, they are sending field agents across the lands of Skyrim searching for me, so we can use this to our advantage. This would lead to a quest where the Dragonborn would visit the other holds in the province with the exception of Windhelm, which is under tight Thalmor control due to its status as a Stormcloak-based city. The next couple of milestones would simply be a combination of sabotage missions against the Thalmor, which would comprise of missions where the Dragonborn would infiltrate Thalmor camps, and embassies to sabotage military plans, as well as recruiting old Stormcloak soldiers and sending them to Winterhold to increase their security. This would continue until Winterhold becomes a fairly established city capable of defending itself. in which Ulfric Stormcloak would send a warning to the Dragonborn. We have progressed well in the rebuilding of Winterhold. Unfortunately, but unsurprisingly, this has caught the attention of the Thalmor, who are now sending an army of elves to attack us. They think they can defeat us after their victory at Windhelm, but the will of the Nords plus the snowy conditions around the city, as well as your efforts in sabotaging Thalmor plans, will give us a better advantage than we did in the last war. Come to me when you are ready to fight. I just want to make a note here that if Ancano was still alive and the Dragonborn was not yet the Archmage of the College of Winterhold, he would have fled Winterhold knowing its rise in power because of the eyes of Ulfric Stormcloak and would warn the Thalmor of this uprising, sending a slightly larger army than they would despite the Dragonborn sabotaging the military plans in previous missions. When the player confirms that they are ready to fight, a short cutscene will occur showing Stormcloaks preparing the wall and tower defenses, as well as arming themselves with weapons to prepare for the incoming battle. When the night comes, a war horn blows, and once again legions of elves march, coming in from the eastern roads of Winterhold. The previous missions of sabotaging Thalmor plans would have resulted in the elves having less troops and siege weapons available for the war. But while the recruitment of the Stormcloaks would have increased the numbers of the defenders, there would still be far fewer compared to their adversaries, so the numbers would still be around 4 to 1, but on a smaller scale. The walls of Winterhold, while not as strong as Windhelm's, are still able to hold against the invading Thalmor, who use a combination of combat and magic skills against the stamina, cold resistant, and sheer determination of the Nords, leading to a fairly even fight on both sides. Despite the College of Winterhold stationed there, the mages and students do not participate in the fight against the Thalmor, since they have no business in the war between the elves and the Stormcloaks, resulting in the disappointment but understanding sentiment from the Dragonborn, who is their Archmage, and instead lends support by healing weakened Stormcloak troops. As the battle progresses, the elves slowly press their advance using their sheer numbers, driving back the Dragonborn, Ulfric, and the Stormcloaks deeper into Winterhold. This battle is playing out similarly to the Battle of Windhelm, where the Stormcloaks are being driven back until eventually they are surrounded in the Jarl's Hall. This is it, huh? Is this where we fall in battle? It was quite the battle, Dragonborn. This would make for quite a song. However, just as the defenders of Winterhold rally for one more charge, another horn is sounded. But this one is different from the war horn of the elves, meaning these are not Thalmor reinforcements. In fact, another army charges from the front gate where the Thalmor invaded from. Men wearing padded iron and leather armor attack the Thalmor from behind, surrounding the elves in a pincer attack, giving the defenders the rally they needed, and forced the Thalmor to retreat. You win this time, Stormcloak, but this is only a fraction of our true force. Your days are numbered. When the defenders collect their dead and prepare to bury them, a hooded figure approaches Ulfric and the Dragonborn, revealing his hood and stating, "You have made this plan difficult for us, Ulfric Stormcloak." And once again, I am going to leave it there because you guys know that I love leaving cliffhangers as the final part of a story before we continue to part 3. So what that means is, if you guys want to see that part 3, please be sure to leave a like on part 2. I have released part 1 of the Imperial videos I stated earlier, so be sure to go check that out if you are interested to see what happens on the side of the Imperials. And of course, other than that, consider subscribing to the channel if you guys want to see more content such as this and other lore video from the Elder Scrolls universe. This is Enzo signing out, and I will see you all in the next lore video.